Two guys, same warehouse, same paycheck. One retired, one still clocks in every morning. Here's why. This isn't really a story about a warehouse. It's the same story playing out in break rooms and offices all over the country for an entire generation that got handed the same promise their parents got, right as that promise was quietly being taken off the table. Ryan and Michael started on the same loading dock the same year. Same steel toe boots, same forklift, same break room with the vending machine that always ate your dollar on the granola bars. Same boss telling both of them the exact same thing on day one, standing in that break room like it was scripture. Put in your 30 years here and this company takes care of you. Pension, gold watch, just like it did for your dad. Michael believed it completely. He wasn't lazy, he just believed the same retirement story millions of people still believe today. He'd watched his own father retire on a pension just like that, sitting in the same recliner every night talking about how the company never let him down. So why wouldn't it work for Michael, too? He clocked in, clocked out, bought a truck, took his vacations, and put a little into the 401k whenever HR nagged him about it. He picked up every raise he earned, worked overtime without complaining, and spent his lunch breaks showing the new guys how to run the forklift without losing a finger. Michael did everything right. That's what makes what happened to Frank sting so much, because Frank had done everything right too. Frank had been there 22 years. Everybody liked Frank. He kept peppermints in his shirt pocket and remembered everyone's kids' names by heart. That whole spring, he couldn't stop talking about it in the break room. 18 months out, then 12, then 6. He had already picked out a camper. He was going to finally learn guitar, the real kind, not the 3 chords he'd been faking at his nephew's campfires for 20 years. The younger guys ribbed him about it, asked if he was going to serenade the fish. Frank just grinned and said to give him 6 months. Then the company changed hands. New name on the building, new logo on the shirts, and the same faces doing the same work underneath it. Nobody thought much of it at first. Ownership changes happened. The work didn't change. A few weeks later, on a regular Tuesday, Frank got called into the office over the intercom, the same way anyone gets called in for a schedule change or a safety review. 20 minutes later, he walked back out holding a folder, and everybody near the time clock went quiet without anyone saying so. Frank stood there a second, like he was deciding whether to say anything at all. Then he told them his pension wasn't what he thought it was anymore. He said it quietly. He wasn't even angry, not yet. He looked more confused than anything, like he was still doing math in his head trying to make it come out different than it did. Nobody knew what to say. Somebody offered him a coffee. Somebody else asked if he wanted to talk about it, and Frank said not really, and everybody went back to work because that's what you do. By the next morning, it was like it hadn't happened, except the camper never got bought, and nobody joked about guitar lessons again. Ryan never once forgot Frank's face walking back to his station that day. He'd seen that look before, just never on somebody who'd done everything right. That same week, at 35, Ryan sat in his truck in the parking lot after his shift, engine running, not going anywhere yet. He pulled up an investing app on his phone he'd downloaded on a whim 2 months earlier and never opened. He looked at it for a minute, closed it, told himself he'd look into it properly this weekend. The weekend came and went. He opened the app again the following Thursday, sitting in the same parking lot with the same engine running. 35 felt like the middle of a story already written, not the start of a new one. He thought about Frank's face again, closed the app again, because the lie sounded reasonable. 35 felt late, 40 felt hopeless, 50 felt impossible.
It took Ryan another full week before he actually did anything, and even then it wasn't dramatic. He didn't quit his job or tell anyone at work, not even Michael, who he still ate lunch with most days. He just opened a brokerage account, put in a small amount, and started buying small pieces of companies that paid him every few months just for owning them. Dividend stocks, the kind that send you a cash payment on a regular schedule, are almost like getting a rent check without owning a building. It was the start of building his own pension, one deposit at a time. Then came the boring part. The part nobody puts in a movie because nothing happens in it that looks like anything. Ryan kept putting money in every month, whether he felt like it or not. About a year in, the market dropped hard enough that the number on his screen looked smaller than what he'd put into it, and for a few days, that felt like proof he'd made a mistake. He kept depositing anyway, mostly out of stubbornness. Months passed, then years. The deposits kept arriving. The dividend payments kept landing every few months, a little bigger each year as the companies he owned grew and as he added more. That's another reason the lie survives. The market gives you plenty of excuses to stop before the results ever show up. He never checked the account obsessively. He never talked about it at parties. He just kept doing the same small, unremarkable thing year after year, while everyone around him assumed nothing was happening in his life financially at all. There was one real test in there. About 4 years in, his transmission went out. $2,200 he didn't have sitting around anywhere else. For a few weeks, that account looked like the easiest answer in the world. He didn't touch it. He picked up overtime instead, ate the same sandwich for lunch for 2 months straight, and kept the deposit going anyway. Michael had his own transmission scare that same year. No account to fall back on, so it went on a credit card, and he was still paying it off a year and a half later, a little bit every month. The exact same rhythm Ryan was using to build something instead. By the time Ryan hit his late 40s, those dividend checks alone were covering more than his truck payment every month. But the number was never really the point. The real moment came on an ordinary Tuesday, not much different from the one Frank had, when Ryan checked his phone at the kitchen table and saw a deposit land in his account that he hadn't done anything that week to earn. It wasn't the amount that got him. It was realizing that money had finally started showing up without asking permission from his boss first. He still got up and went to work that morning. Same warehouse, same forklift. For the first time in his life, work had become a choice instead of a requirement. That night, his daughter asked him why he seemed so relaxed lately, and he just shrugged and said work had been fine. He didn't tell her about the account. He didn't tell anyone, not really, not even now. It wasn't a secret he was keeping so much as something that had never needed an audience to be real. Michael was still on the floor every day too, same as always, but his knees had started talking back by then, the way knees do after 2 decades on concrete. He never complained about it. He just moved a little slower getting in and out of the forklift, took the stairs 1 at a time instead of 2, and figured that was just what 50 looked like for a warehouse guy. He wasn't wrong. It is what 50 looks like, if 50 is the only plan you've got. Ryan's knees hurt too. The difference was Ryan had an exit whenever he decided he wanted one, and Michael didn't have one at all. Michael, the same age, still clocks in every morning, still fully trusting a promise that already broke for somebody 2 stations down from him, still telling the newer guys the exact same thing his own father told him, word for word, because nobody ever told him it wasn't true anymore.
Ryan and Michael worked the same warehouse job for years. Frank worked there too, until the day his pension disappeared right in front of them. One of them built his own pension, 1 deposit at a time, without a memo from HR ever telling him to. The other is still waiting on the company to keep the promise it handed out on day 1, the same way it handed one to Frank. Ryan could have used almost any brokerage. He likes Webull because it's easy to get started. The link's below. Frank trusted a company. Michael trusted a promise. Ryan trusted time. Only one of those kept its word. If you're Gen X watching this, you already know a Frank. You've probably worked next to a Michael for years. Maybe you are Michael right now. The only question left is whether you spend the next 20 years finding out the hard way or start building your own version of what Ryan built before somebody hands you a folder of your own. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.